Hey everybody, Gabe Suarez here, Suarez Tactics. So I just got done watching the video of the gal that got stabbed in the Charlotte light rail train, and there's a lot of lessons in that video. Okay, first from the perspective of the victim. Obviously, this poor gal did not have any streetwise programming or knowledge at all, which is surprising because if she was a Ukrainian refugee, one would think that somebody that came from that war-torn country would have a perspective on reality. But be that as it may, so we see the crazy guy. Okay, and he looked like a crazy guy. All right, he's got a red hoodie on and he's got it all covered up and he's fidgeting around. I mean, if I saw that guy on a train and I had to get on that train, I wouldn't be sitting in front of him with my back to him. Okay, and yet that's what this poor girl did. She was so in the zone, internally focused, that she put herself right within the clutches of this evil creature, and he took advantage of her. So the main points are these. Number one, you got to profile everyone and everything, man. Like I talk in my Hacking the OODA Loop lecture, you have to look for anomalies. If you walk into that train and everybody looks a certain way, everybody's behaving a certain way, except that guy, don't sit next to him, okay? Unless you want to pick a fight with him, then go ahead. But I don't think that was her objective, okay? And understand that the attack may come at any point and any day. And so yeah, I know people say, well, I don't want to live that way. Well, too bad. That's the way it is, man. Okay? It can come at any point, at any time. So the answers here are, be alert all the time. Okay? And you don't have to be paranoid about it. Like I'm sitting here in the parking lot, and you'll see that every so often, I've got my mirror set up so I can glance to the right. I see what's behind me. I glance at my rear view, and I glance to the front. I glance at this mirror here, and I have a full 360 all around me at any time. Okay, I'm also carrying a weapon. I'm carrying two weapons actually. And I'm not weird or anything. I'm here to meet somebody at Starbucks. We're going to talk some business. Okay, So, but you have to live like that's how life is. Okay, you can pretend it's not. It's not going to change. That's how life is. Okay, so be alert. The second thing is, have a plan B. Now, my plan A is to be alert and see something happening so that I'm not taken by surprise. All right. Napoleon once wrote that a general could be forgiven for being defeated, but never for being surprised. Well, the same thing goes for us. Okay. And my plan B is I have my pistol with me and magazines and a few other goodies that if plan A fails, or plan A goes a certain way, I opt for the alternative. Okay, I doubt that this poor girl had an alternative, and one wonders. I'm not sure what the security measures are on the light rail in Charlotte, but obviously this guy got a knife on board. So push the envelope. I am never unarmed, even when I go into some place where guns and knives are prohibited. I always find something to have with me that will augment my ability to express violence when it's necessary. So you got to be creative about this, okay? Obviously, I'm not going to give up all the bits of information on open video like this because I don't want the next security guy that hey, Mr. Suarez, yeah, let me check. No, okay? But there are steps that you can take. You got to stop thinking like Captain America and the law-abiding NRA members. Start thinking like a thug and a criminal, because they get guns and knives and stuff like that in all sorts of places. Okay, and sometimes the rules have to be circumvented, and that's just the way it is in modern society. Okay, the other issue is how many other people were in that rail car and yet didn't do a thing. In fact, you can see them all running away from this situation. Okay. Now, that brings up the other question. All right, do you get involved? What do you do? And all this kind of stuff. Now, knowing how these events unfold, knowing how, the information is never going to be 100%. It's possible that these people never saw what happened. It's possible that it happened so quickly that by the time they looked up, everything was done, and they may not even have known what happened. Okay, I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see the whole video. Everything has been redacted, to cover up the most violent parts. I don't know. There are people in the gun community, including prominent trainers, that will tell you that they train and carry weapons only to protect themselves, and they do not give a rat's ass what happens to anybody else if it doesn't have anything to do with them. Well, you know what? I'll tell you, those people are fucking cowards. Okay? That's what they are. Now, I'm not telling you to jump in with both feet on something that you don't have enough information. Okay? But, just running away from a bad guy that has done what he has done, I don't know that I could do that. But maybe that's just me. Maybe my sense of honor, my sense of what a man is supposed to be, maybe that's different than everybody else. I don't know. I don't think it's different in the circles that I move in. To say that I am only going to be who I am and train and all this stuff just to protect myself, and I don't care if a teenage girl gets her throat cut by some drug-abusing ghetto thug on the train, I'm not going to lift a finger to help her. I'm not going to lift a finger to stop this guy. I don't know. I don't think I could live with myself if that was my perspective. What's the point? What's the point then of doing any of this stuff? Okay? Now, in my Killing Within the Law lecture, I divide your reaction into two segments. One, you're the target. You're the one that's being attacked. That's easy. That's a walk in the park. You know what to do. Okay? The other one is when you are not the victim, you're not the intended victim, rather, but you happen to be there and you see it happening. Okay. The deciding factor is this: do you have enough clarity of what you are seeing that you can articulate why you were precluded from doing anything else but taking action? Okay? Can you do that? What are you seeing? And what is this something that a reasonable man would consider the same as you? Because there's people that they'll see, demons and goblins around every corner and nobody else does. Okay, but what I'm talking about is, all right, you see a big, ugly bad guy wearing a red hoodie grab a girl by the hair, pull a knife out, and he's about to cut her throat. Okay, and you're thinking, well, that's got nothing to do with me. I think you're a pussy. Sorry, that's what I think. Okay, now I imagine everybody listening to this, has wives, daughters, mothers, people that they would give their lives for. If you don't, I'm truly sorry for you, but the rest of us do. Okay. But those of you who do have them, imagine that they are there on that train, okay? And, maybe they were naive about the world. Maybe you weren't vociferous enough in explaining to them the facts of life, and they sat there in front of the bad guy. And the bad guy reaches in his pocket and he pulls out the knife, okay? And you're not there. You're not there. You're at work, or, you're somewhere else. But you can see what's happening, okay? And I'm there. Maybe I'm not seeing what's happening. What would you ask me to do? Would you tap me on the shoulder and say, Mr. Suarez, that has nothing to do with you, and you are well advised to ignore it and take care of yourself only. In fact, as soon as the train doors open, run and leave my daughter to bleed out on that rail car? Or would you tap me on the shoulder and say, Mr. Suarez, would you be so kind as to turn that man's head into a canoe and kill him dead and spare my daughter's life? I bet you would ask me the second question. And here's the thing. If you would ask me to do that for you, isn't it fair for the rest of us to ask you to do that for us? I think so. All right? It's time for American men to stop being pussies. It's time for American men to not be like the British, that are allowing their women to be gang raped by gangs of thugs and so on, because they're afraid that they're going to get in trouble, and they're afraid of this and they're afraid of that. Time for Americans to stop being afraid. Okay, that event is unacceptable. And the behavior of those who were there is unsatisfactory unless they simply didn't know what was going on or didn't see what was going on. But I suspect that about half of the people there knew exactly what was going on. Okay? Anyway, that's my opinion on the matter. I'm sure it's going to upset somebody. I'm sure that people are going to get pissed off at me and everything else. You know what? I don't care. Okay? That's how I feel. Churchill's waiting and he's going to tap you on the shoulder. Okay? And you be ready for what is going to be your finest hour.